What's up, guys? Welcome to this little thing I'm gonna try out doing little commentaries called Shooting the Ish. And one thing I know is that one thing I do love doing is talking about random stuff. This is probably gonna be a really trash commentary just because I'm not, I'm kind of playing the game and also just talking in real life. This is just kind of how I talk. I'm not really like a huge public speaker like that. Even though I feel like I could be better at it, but I want to get like actual public speaking training one day. Like I actually want to learn how to like really be good at public speaking, and that's something that that's like a goal of mine. But it's kind of tough because it's kind of something that I think people think is natural, but it's really not. Because like when you do like presentations in school, 9 times out of 10 you don't really care about what you're talking about. But I think if you're like doing like say working, if you're working in sales and you're trying to do a sales pitch or an elevator pitch, you have to kind of articulate yourself in like 30 seconds or less and just kind of do something like that. I don't know. I think public speaking is something you can definitely get better at, but that's kind of a goal of mine. But anyways, I'm gonna try to make this into like a series, I guess, where I just turn on the camera or just turn on like the mic, I guess, and just talk for like 10 to 15 minutes. And that's kind of something I used to do when I was like 12 on my YouTube channel. Like you can still like look at my YouTube channel right now and you can find videos from 2014 when I just have like an iPad. By the way, this audio might be too loud. I don't know if my voice is loud enough for this, but we'll see. I'll just upload the video and see what happens. But anyways, I was like 12 years old making YouTube videos. They're still on my channel. You can sort the videos by like oldest. Actually, don't do that. Don't do that because it's probably gonna make you cringe. It makes me cringe. I don't know. But I used to like set up just like an iPad just on my freaking chair and like aim it towards my TV and just start talking and stuff. And it was kind of just how it was. I think I definitely was like, that was like the commentary era though, I think now is like more of a streaming era, more of a, I guess more of a cinematic, I don't know how to explain it, like people definitely edit their videos a lot more, but like back in like the early 2010s, people definitely used to just like have an Elgato and just set up their thing and just talk over a video game like how I am now. And I kind of liked it, it was just kind of more casual and just more chill. I guess a lot of, the kids now, they kind of just want to see streaming, and that's kind of what streaming is in a way. Streaming is like live, you can interact with the chat, in real time, so I think it's definitely a good, for interaction's sake, but I don't know, to each his own. Hold on. Yeah, but I'm also playing this game live right now, so some people used to like record like 15 minutes of gameplay and then just put their voice over the game. But me personally, I always just like, gaming live, it's just kind of like how I am. If you're just like with me, I'd probably just yap your ear off about random shit and then just whatever happens. But anyways, I don't even know if this will even be a series. I'll probably just like, every once in a while, just kind of like, have this, series called Shooting the Ish and then just talk about random stuff. But honestly, right now, there's not really that much in my mind except, trying to get my life together, and I'm trying to get a job and stuff. And I was telling some people I know that, I did this one job interview, and I'm not gonna like, name names or anything, but it was like an insurance sales company. And the thing is like, I do need a job, but it's not as desperate as I'm not like desperate to get a job. Like I won't just take anything that would hire me, But it was an insurance sales company, and I don't know, you should probably tell me if I'm being crazy, because I think, like, in some ways, I like the fact that nowadays hold on. I like the fact that nowadays there's more, it's like, workplaces are more casual now. You don't have to wear a suit to work in a lot of places anymore, and, people will, like, do stuff like vape and stuff in the workplace, right? And I do appreciate somewhat the fact that, workplaces are more casual and just more personable, I guess. And, you don't have to be all uptight and work all the time, depending on what you do, obviously, right? But, like, when I was in that interview, like, the place just seemed really desperate for, like, help. Because, first of all, sales doesn't really have a lot of you know, like there's a lot of turnover basically. There's a lot of turnover in sales. And especially in something like insurance sales where you're just dialing a phone or you're just, you know, going door to door. It's like, it's not a job that people love doing, you know. A lot of times, like, you would have to be like a really special type of person to do that and enjoy it, you know. And the guy was telling me in the interview, like, I think I already had the job locked down before I even walked in the door for the interview, because he was kind of just like describing the job to me like I had the job already. You know, he was telling me what I would have to do all day, which was like dial like 500 numbers a day and go door to door on the other days. Like, it was a lot, right? And then he gets a delivery. He gets a delivery mid-interview, and then he goes to the door, right? He's like, I'll be right back. I was like, oh, okay. He goes to the door, and he pulls out a little bag, and then he had like a vape in the bag, and he hit it mid-interview, you know? And like, he hit the vape mid-interview, and I was just like, I was kind of caught off guard. Like, it didn't really like shock me, but I was just like, oh, that's what we're doing, you know? It's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, well, we're gonna do that. But I don't know, it's just something about it, man. The whole thing just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it's not even really the vape, honestly. It was just like the guy was just kind of strange too, honestly. I don't want to judge a book by its cover or anything, but that dude was kind of strange. And like the whole place was just kind of like there's probably a good reason why they were desperate for workers, you know. And the guy was ready to have me move forward right there, you know, because I basically had that job. But something about I really think that I can like exercise more options. And like, once again, you guys tell me if I'm being stupid here, but I wanted to exercise my own options and be like, yeah, I don't think that's really the job for me, or like something I would really not enjoy. Because I kind of like, obviously, like, I get it. I applied for the job and I went to the interview. So to them, that means that I wanted the job, right? But at the same time, like, I still have the right to, you know, reject the job offer at the end, right? But then right there at the interview, he was trying to like get me to start going forward right there, you know, basically like taking the job offer. And then I was like, wait a second, I would like to think about it, you know, I would like to think about it, but I'm honestly not gonna really, I'm honestly thinking about just not taking that job offer at all. I think I'm not gonna do it, you know. And by the way, I don't really know how people speak for like a long time, you know. But you guys tell me if that's stupid of me to do, because I think that's something I think I should protect my sanity, you know. The place just seemed like, first of all, the work would have been terrible, would have been miserable, and the workplace itself didn't really look that great. You know, it wasn't like something that would have like been it wouldn't have elevated the place to where I would enjoy the work, you know. And the guy that was doing the interview, like I said, he was kind of strange in a way. Like, I don't really like calling people weird and stuff, but he was just kind of strange and everything. And I just, like, the whole thing about it was just not good. So I don't think I'm gonna take that offer. But, you know, I basically asked like, yeah, man, let me get a few days to think about it and see if I can, you know, exercise my options and think about everything. And he said, all right. So I'm gonna hit him back and see and tell him what I decided, which was no. But yeah, that's just how it is sometimes. You know, I think you know, in a time like that, I think I don't know. It depends on how desperate you would have to be, but I think most people would rather have a job that, you know, they can keep their sanity and they're not, you know, absolutely fucking miserable at work. You know, because that sounds like horrible. Like, nobody wants to be miserable at work, even if you're making like okay money, you know. So I don't know. Maybe some people should tell me, like, would you take like a small pay cut to be more sane at work? Like, would you take a more pay cut to have a better workplace experience? You know, like have better work-life balance and everything. Like, I don't know. That's something that, like, it really depends on who you ask, because some people really value the money and would for sure take more money and be miserable for a little bit and just like work hard and like try to get their resume up. I understand that point of view too. I don't blame anybody for doing that, especially if you need the money that badly, right? I don't blame anybody. It's 2026, you know, times are tough. I get it. But me personally, I think I'm more of I'm more of a person. I do value money in a lot of ways, right? Having a lot of money definitely is great and helps you a lot in a lot of ways. But then I'd also want to keep my like work-life balance, and I also want to keep my sanity as well, and not feel like I'm being like a robot. Like I don't want to feel like I'm a robot at work. You know, that's basically all I'm saying. So I don't know. But like I was saying though, I don't know how people can talk for a long time. Like public speakers, people that like, I don't know, like a politician or like a commentator on like ESPN. I don't know how they can talk for hours and hours on end and not like right now my jaw is getting like sore right now just from talking pause. Like I don't really know how people do this all the time for a living. And it's definitely a good skill too, because I think after like an hour or two, I would get tired of talking. I wouldn't even know what to talk about anymore, you know? And yeah, I think if I were like someone who did a lot of public speaking as a job, I don't know if I would be able to have a script either, because I hate talking on a script. That's why I wouldn't be an actor either, because I don't like talking not how I am, you know? And I know some people thrive with a script, and I really can't. Like I can, if I do a presentation on something like when I did in school, a lot of times what I would do is I would like have bullet points kind of, and I would have like themes and like ideas of what I would talk about. But at the same time, I wouldn't also script myself too much, you know, because I think, you know, when I script myself, I would like have points about like, this is what I'm going to say. Maybe I won't say that. Maybe I'll say something like this, but I'm not gonna script myself to where I just sound like a robot the whole time, because I would have to practice my inflection and everything. It's just the whole thing. Like I'm not the kind of person who would want to do that. I know some people need that though, because they're not really good improv speakers. But I think I would be better at, you know, just speaking off the top of my head and just kind of knowing a topic more than just having a whole script, you know, teleprompter and everything. That's not fun to me at all, you know. So I think that's a little bit different from me. And speaking of work, you know, like in the future, I do kind of like have like a little bit of a business ambition. You know, I do want to start a business one day. Maybe if I, you know, get a job for a few years and then save up a lot of money, then maybe I can start a business. Like I do want to start like a pretty simple business. And I know that like a boring business, you know, it's not like nobody really wants to boast about like a boring business, but I mean, there's a reason why a lot of boring businesses are the ones that actually like are the most successful, I feel like, you know. So like I do want to own a laundromat one day, maybe, because laundromats are pretty good. Like they're recession resistant, you know, they make, you know, steady income, you know, they're always in need. You know, even in 2026 now, people still using laundromats. But also, you know, I do lawn care in my house, and, you know, it is hard work a lot of times, you know. I'm sweating my ass off doing lawn care, but it is good work as well. You know, I know there's a lot of lawn care companies that make decent money as well. You know, and I'm not, honestly, when I was people, I don't know if this is, you guys are probably not going to care about this stuff, but when I do lawn care, I'm not the type of person who, you know, like does a whole bunch of stuff. Like I know some people put nitrogen in their soil and they put a whole bunch of mulch in there and some other stuff. Like I know people that put a whole bunch of supplements in their lawn and try to make it super green and super everything like that. Like I'm not that person at all. I just mow my lawn, let the rain take care of the water, you know, because you don't need a whole lot of water. Like you need like an inch of water per week, you know, that's about it. Like if it doesn't rain that way, maybe you can water it, but honestly, the rain is good enough. If it rains like once a week, it's good enough. You don't need a whole lot of water. I think that shit is wasteful. Like I think like having like 10 sprinklers on your freaking place, just like spraying all day, like that is not what you need, bro. You're overwatering your shit, and it's wasteful as hell. You're probably gonna run up your bill. It's bad for the environment, all that stuff. So honestly, I just mow it. I put on 2 inches pause, and I just mow it. And then I just trim the edge, you know, and then people are like, oh my gosh, your lawn is so nice. I'm like, okay, well, I don't do anything special, you know, to it. I appreciate it, but I don't do anything special to it. I just mow it and trim, and that's it, you know. And honestly, I think that's kind of how maybe sometimes to a fault, I'll say maybe sometimes to a fault, that is kind of how I am in life, you know. If something is like able to be done simply, inefficiently, I'm gonna do it simply and efficiently. I'm not gonna like do a bunch of extra stuff and everything. Like I do like pretty much every chore I do, and you know, anything that needs to be done, if I can do it simply and like make it, you know, make it efficient, that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do everything extra. Hold on, somebody's right behind me. I gotta kill this guy. There's probably another one, I think. Yep, there's another one. Hold on. Damn. Hold on. That's kind of the problem with me doing this live, because now I gotta lock in sometimes when I play the game. That's how it is, though. You know, I'm not like the kind of guy that would just, you know, do stuff to my lawn just cause. But I get a lot of people are bored. I guess they kind of do it as a hobby. This guy's gonna kill me. But yeah, man, that's just kind of how I am. See, now I'm kind of running out of stuff to say. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stretching. Can't even see me. I'm stretching now. Pause. But it was like 15 minutes. I don't know how long this has been. It's probably been like 12 minutes. But you know, I'm already running out of stuff to say, and I don't even know. So maybe this ain't gonna be as serious. It's gonna be just a one-off shooting the ish, you know. Like I got my friend Goaty Main, who y'all probably know. He streams all the time, you know, and he did a 24-hour stream. It was actually 25 hours. He was doing a stream, a Madden stream. He was winning with every team, and it took 25 hours. Like I don't know how that guy does it. I don't know how that guy does it. He's a streamer, by the way. But I know. Hold on. I gotta lock in. This is one of the times I gotta lock in. His gun is nice. I love this gun. I'm running.
Alright, let's get to work and deliver that charge.
See, I have a lot of respect for people who do stuff like this all the time. And YouTubers, especially back in the day. And especially YouTubers back in the day that had like a shitty camcorder from like 2011, and they might have had like an Elgato that recorded like 720p on the PS3. Like that shit. I don't know how people do that stuff, man. But anyway, I'm starting to feel like a broken record right now, so I think I'm just gonna end it now. But I appreciate anybody who, you know, is watching this whole thing, and you can see my, you know, decent Battlefield gameplay. You know. Really does feel like 2011, I guess. But I don't know. Anyways, if you guys like this, you know, maybe I can do another one after this, and I don't know, a certain amount of time when I feel like it. But if you like this, then that's awesome. If you don't, fuck you. All right, have a good one.